Oh, hello, hello. Good morning, Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri, Datuk Sri, Datuk, Datin Sri, Datin, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's webinar organized by the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, mostly entitled 12th Plan Empowering Technology Development and Commercialization. But before that, let's start off with an intro of 12th Malaysia Plan or 12th Plan. On September 27, 2021, the 12th Plan was tabled by the Honourable Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob in the House of Representatives, Dewan Raya, to draw a 5-year plan with the objective of a prosperous, inclusive and sustainable Malaysia. This plan encompasses the first half of the Wawasan Kemakmuran Bersama 2030, intended to address various national issues ranging from the socio-economic development, well-being, health, national security and sustainability in the spirit of Keluarga Malaysia. The 12th Plan highlights several key strategies driven under 3 themes and 4 policy enablers, including accelerating technology adoption and innovation, which will be spearheaded by MOSTI. In this webinar session, the discussion will be focusing on technology development, innovation and adoption in our national setting, which covers various aspects including technology development among locals, RDC&I governance, current industry and startups readiness, as well as commercialization. Throughout the webinar, you are welcome to post your relevant questions and comments in the chat box of our live screen channel, and the Secretariat will pick selected questions to be answered by our distinguished panelists. I believe most of you are excited to learn more on empowering technology development and commercialization from our experts. So without further ado, I welcome the Honourable Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Datuk Sri Dr. Adam bin Babar, to give his opening remarks.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang berbahagia Tan Sri, Datuk, Datin, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor and privilege for me to welcome all of you to the 12th Malaysia Plan webinar, theme Empowering Technology Development and Commercialization, organized by the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. On September 27, 2021, RMK 12 was tabled by the Honorable Prime Minister, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, in the House of Representatives to draw a 5-year plan in transforming the nation into a prosperous, inclusive and sustainable environment. This plan addresses various national issues ranging from the socio-economic development, well-being, health, national security and sustainability in the spirit of Keluarga Malaysia. To achieve this, RMK 12 highlights several key strategies driven under 3 themes and 4 policy enablers. One of them is accelerating technology adoption and innovation, championed by MUSTI. Ladies and gentlemen, I firmly believe that these key strategies will address critical issues related to MUSTI. It will increase the governance of science, technology, innovation and economy, level up efforts on research, development, commercialization and innovation, R&D and C&I, and enhance the adoption of technology within the industry. Moreover, as part of the National Recovery Plan, MUSTI plays a significant role in RMK 12 in restoring economic development and stability, as well as to boost national economic growth through science, technology and innovation. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected economic sectors which are highly dependent on foreign workers to continue the economic supply chain. I believe that next is now. The mechanization of Malaysia is the future of the country to give focus on the 4th Industrial Revolution by local innovators. As the Japanese saying, fall 7 times and stand up 8. The COVID-19 pandemic has pushed humanity in embracing new technologies to sustain businesses and livelihood during the economic meltdown. Moving onward from this, we should rebuild the economy and come out as a stronger society through this pandemic. I strongly believe that the key components to empower society from being technological adopter to becoming technological developers is for our Keluarga Malaysia to focus on advanced technological development and application. Ladies and gentlemen, RMK 12 was tabled at the right time to overcome the COVID-19 aftermath, transforming several strategic industries and activities such as electrical and electronics, as well as smart farming. In response to the COVID-19 impact, Keluarga Malaysia will need to move forward with the automation and mechanization in the manufacturing process chain. MUSTI is fully committed towards empowering Malaysia economic sectors in agriculture, manufacturing, services and disaster mitigation to be more technological based. For instance, the adoption of digital solutions such as big data analysis, artificial intelligence, blockchain and sensor technology. As Malaysia gear up the IR 4.0, we must ensure that everyone is ready. Companies must change their business model to be more resilient. The workforce will need to undergo intensive training to address potential gaps, ensuring employability. We have to couple comprehensive strategies with the advancement of digital technology. The basis is to accelerate technological development, effective collaboration and communication among government agencies, industries, academia and society in a whole of nation setting. In terms of talent empowerment, MUSTI will intensify STI awareness initiative to nurture scientific culture to ensure future readiness for the generation of tomorrow. With the successful implementation of these measures, Malaysia will be positioned as a leading players in the global supply chain for high value-added product and services. At the same time, we could achieve the target of RMK 12 by the year 2025, which are 2.5% of gross expenditure on research and development, GERD, to Malaysia gross domestic product. 70% of business expenditure on research and development to GERD. To have 130 researchers per 10,000 labor force, 50% of experimental development research expenditure to GERD, Malaysia to rank top 20 in the Global Innovation Index, and to have 500 products commercialized through the National Technology and Innovation Sandbox (NTIS) and the Malaysia Commercialisation Year (MCY). Ladies and gentlemen, I reiterate the importance of effective collaboration between all important parties to empower technological development and commercialization. MOSTI will ensure the education of STI, increase commercialization, improve the quality of life, generating wealth while propelling sustainable development. RMK 12 is supported by the National Science, Technology and Innovation Policy and STIP 2021-2030 and the 1010 My STIE framework, where both documents will map strategies in RMK 12 on existing strength of the country, focusing on research capabilities, emerging technologies, and Malaysia readiness to address socio-economic needs. Keluarga Malaysia, to conclude, everyone plays an important role to materialize this aspiration. Remember, individually, we are just one drop. Together, we are an ocean. Let's give our full support to ensure successful implementation of this 5-year plan. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to the Honorable Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Dato Sri Dr. Adam bin Baber, for the opening remarks. Moving on, we are now at the exciting part of today's event, which is the webinar session itself. This session will be moderated by Dr. Rizal Khairi Ahmad, the Chief Executive Officer of Nano Malaysia Berhad. As a local nanotechnology professional, Dr. Rizal started his career in 1998 as an instructor and tutor in Tenaga National University, UNITED. After more than 2 decades of experience across various industries with positions both in the private sector and GLCs, he is now a Chief Executive Officer of Nano Malaysia Berhad. He obtained his first degree in Electronic Electrical Engineering, University College London in 1998, before completing his Master in Electrical Engineering, Tenaga National University in 2002. He holds a PhD in Electronic Electrical Engineering from London Centre for Nanotechnology, University College London in 2010 and was recognized as the first Kazana PhD scholar. Among his achievements, he is the founder of Graphene Verify program with the purpose to authenticate graphene materials and products. He is also the chief architect for Nano Malaysia's 12th Malaysia Plan program, which include Revolution IONT, Nanotechnology Commercialisation Program, Hydrogen Eco Nanomine, High Impact Project, and Nanotech Remote Energy System High Impact Project. Besides, he is the prime designer for Hydrogen Technology and Economy Roadmap, National Energy Storage Technology Initiative, NESTI, Biomass Innovation Circular Economy Program, BICEP, and Engineering Electric Mobility to Revolutionize Green Economy, EMERGE. Now, please welcome Dr. Rizal Khairi Ahmad to continue with the session.
Thank you, Mr. Kashminder. Assalamualaikum, good morning, everyone, viewers that we love and care so much. Welcome to the webinar titled Empowering Technology Development and Commercialization. A good welcome to Puan Zulaira,
Thank you.
CEO
Thank you,
TPM,
Dr. Zizal.
Puan Hazami, CEO of Academic Sciences Malaysia, and our friend over there, Mr. Eric of CARSM. Thanks to have you on board. We have listened in great detail the presentation and the speech by our beloved Minister of Science, Technology, Innovation, Dr. Sri Adham Baba, giving you an overview of MOSTI's role in terms of exciting, catalyzing the science, technology, innovation agenda in Malaysia to ensure that we become competitive moving forward, particularly in the 12th Malaysia Plan. And what makes 12th Malaysia Plan different, as expounded and in brief by Mr. Kashminder earlier on, is underpinned by the principle of prosperous, inclusive, and sustainable Malaysia, PIS. And what makes 12th Malaysia Plan different compared to others is it has 14 game changers. The 14 game changers are underpinned by science, technology, innovation, because STI is cross-cutting. Whatever that you feel, you use, your existence is all powered by science, technology, innovation. There's one particular game changer, number 14, which calls aligning research and development towards commercialization, wealth generation, and you all know economic growth. And this so-called game changer number 14, powered by STI, has a spillover effect to other game changers. For example, game changer number 2, catalyzing industrial growth. Game changer number 3, transforming micro, small, medium enterprises as a new key economic driver. And game changer number 8, embracing circular economy. All of those require solutions coming from the STI ecosystem, being the pulse, the blood, the heartbeat of all things that move in Malaysia. So without much further ado, I will allow for our speakers to start their presentation, for you to understand, to come on board. So this is like an open invitation for everyone in Malaysia. Our minister has said that under the Keluarga Malaysia context, it is an open invitation of collaborative network. Not only you're only a drop of ocean, you need to be the whole ocean to make sure a success become fully realized. So without much further ado, I will pass the mic to Puan Zulaira. But before that, a brief introduction about who she is. Puan Zulaira Abu Bakar, the Chief Executive Officer of Tech Park Malaysia, a Malaysian-grown tech professional with 17 years of experience across various industries, with positions both in the private sector and GLIC and GLCs. Zulaira started her career in the early 2000s and now carries with her the vast expertise on private equity, venture capitalists, to lead Tech Park Malaysia. In her years of venture capital career, she has evaluated countless deals and invested in many Malaysian and regional companies. Zulaira weaves these pieces of knowledge and experience as an advocate for the startup community while leading the Malaysian Global Innovation and Creativity Center, or MAGIC, and initiated programs critical to technology development such as National Innovation and Technology Sandbox, NTIS, and the critically acclaimed Global Accelerator Program, GAP. As Tech Park Malaysia CEO, she currently carries the mandate to transform the company onto a premier tech park to lead the commercialization of homegrown technology. Over to you, Ms. Zulaira.
Thank you, Dr. Rizal. Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. Thank you for joining us today. It's a great pleasure to be on this panel session alongside Puan Hazami and Dr. Rizal. So allow me just to start a little bit around what we're planning to discuss today, which is the RMK 12, right? So the 12th Malaysian Plan, I think, the 12th Malaysian Plan itself was actually formulated when the world was actually facing extreme challenges, right? So we were grappling COVID-19 for the past 2 years, and this was the time where RMK 12 was formulated and announced, right? So I think a couple of key narratives with the 12th Malaysian Plan actually is around economic growth on the back of technology and innovation, right? And we've seen how technology has actually enabled business. We've seen how technology has enabled our day-to-day lives through the last 600 days, right? And counting, really, more than anything else. Now, as we discuss RMK 12, I think it's also important to look back on RMK 11, yeah? So if you look at the 11th Malaysian Plan, which was actually formulated 2016 to 2020, before I move on to 12th Malaysian Plan, let me just take you back on RMK 11, just a bit of a recap. Now, the GDP at the time grew at the rate of 2.7% per annum, which is actually lower than the target in itself. Now, there was a contraction of about 5.6% in 2020. It's obvious why the contraction in the GDP actually happened, and we were actually at the thick of the COVID-19 crisis. Then we achieved a higher growth of about 4.9% in the first 4 years of 11th Malaysian Plan, right? So that contraction actually happened despite the growth of 4.9%. Now, the GNI in itself reached at about 42,500, so 42,500 ringgit Malaysia, or 10,100 US dollars during the entire RMK 11, right? But it's still lower by 20% from the income threshold to achieve high income nation status. Now, you may ask what the status is or what that threshold is. Now, that threshold is actually US dollars 12,535. So we are now about 20% lower than that target, right? So as you all are completely aware, now the pandemic significantly affected the labor market, right? And then giving a sizable retrenchment, corporate sector were all completely disrupted in that sense. And the economy recorded a higher unemployment rate, which was about 4.5% in 2020. I think that was by far the highest unemployment rate in the last 5 years.
Yep.
Right? Now, also during the 11th Malaysian Plan, the government spent about 248 billion for development. Right? Now, if you look at the split, 58% was in social sector, 26% was in safety and security, 11% was in 11% was on safety and security, and a remaining 5% was in general administration. And the largest expenditure by far was in the economic sector for basic utilities and infrastructure. So that was the split for RMK 12. Now, moving forward, the next 5 years, it's imperative that we strike a balance between lives and livelihoods, as we were completely disrupted and destructed with COVID-19. Now, the next 5 years is about rebuilding, right? Rebuilding. And again, it's for the immediate and the medium term. It's a tall order, but we need to be able to weigh all of these parameters, right? Now, one thing remains clear, as I've mentioned earlier, and you've also heard through the minister's speech earlier, is the importance of innovation. Innovation is really at the heart of finding new solutions. Yeah. Now, coming back to RMK 12, there are 9 focus areas under RMK 12 in itself. Quick recap: economic growth, which is revitalizing economic growth, strengthening growth enablers, increasing the well-being of Keluarga Malaysia, enhancing security and public safety, eradicating hardcore poverty and narrowing income gaps. Right? Enhancing the Bumiputra agenda and Keluarga Malaysia, boosting development in East Malaysia and the less developed states, advancing green growth, which is a huge push right now, especially with all the sustainability talks, increasing the efficiency of public service delivery and ensuring effective policy implementation. Right? Now, by focusing on higher return on R&D conversion, we are effectively going to create new jobs, reducing dependency on foreign technology, altogether enabling technology to be more available, affordable, and accessible to the rakyat. So this is basically all encompassing if you look at the 9 aspects of the 9 areas that the RMK 12 focuses on, which is really around technology, innovation, and economic growth. Mm-hmm. Now, entering our next, sorry, just trying to, yeah. So now moving into the latest sort of agenda under MOSTI, alongside everything else, sorry, just Yeah. So alongside everything else that we're working in MOSTI around technology and commercialization, we recently announced a new mandate called the Malaysian Research Accelerator for Technology and Innovation. Again, I think I'd like to emphasize that this is not a new agency. This is a consolidation of two key agencies carrying the mandate of research, acceleration, commercialization, as well as technology and innovation. So the two agencies are Malaysian Global Innovation and Creativity Centre, as well as Technology Park Malaysia. Now, two key agencies that have been in the ecosystem actively in the last 5 years, right? Of course, TPM has been around since 1996, one of the premier early agencies in technology and commercialization. Magic has been around for 5 years. So Meranti actually looks at consolidating two key agencies to promote or step on the pedal as far as acceleration of technology and innovation is concerned. Now, in short, Meranti will be the glue that holds and strengthens the link between all parts of our ecosystem, right? I think the important narrative moving forward is working together. Technology catalyzing innovation, commercialization activity, it is not something that can be done by one single agency or one single stakeholder. It requires working together. It requires collaborative efforts through key stakeholders. And we call these key stakeholders the quadruple helix, which is academia, government, industry, as well as the technology solution providers themselves or the startups, right? So Meranti essentially is one of the many agencies under MOSTI, nanotechnology included, Nano Malaysia, Academy Science, we have Cradle, we have MAFCAP, and we have all other agencies that are supporting technology acceleration as well as commercialization activities, right? So Meranti essentially will bring together all of these agencies to push this agenda forward. Now, when the idea again was first conceptualized, it was actually on the back of advocating innovation and technology into a single central agency. But again, as I mentioned earlier, it cannot be done by one central agency. It has to be done in collaboration. And again, under RMK 12, Meranti will be a key agency to realize policy enabler number 2, which is accelerating technology adoption and innovation. Now, this policy enabler outlines two key game changer in accelerating technology adoption and innovation, which are enhancing digital connectivity for inclusive development as well as aligning R&D towards commercialization, wealth generation, and economic growth. Now, you may ask, why Meranti, right? We chose Meranti because it signifies strong roots. It signifies Malaysia. It's truly uniquely Malaysia, right? Stemming from yellow Meranti, which also allows for a canopy of sorts. So Meranti is meant to be that agency that will galvanize all activities around technology and innovation and working together alongside with other agencies, right? So Meranti will fast track Malaysia's innovation ecosystem to stand strong, stand tall, right? Against the world's best. Now, however, our ambitions need to be grounded in the roots, which is why we call ourselves Meranti, right? Of actionable targets and tangible results, right? Now, going to what Meranti is all about, and speaking of RMK 12 and our targets. Now, relating to R&D, by 2025, these are the key targets that RMK 12 has actually placed in, which are 2.5% of GERD to GDP, 70% of R&D expenditure by private sector to GERD, 50% experimental developmental research expenditure to GERD, top 20 ranking in the Global Innovation Index. Now, what does it all mean, right? What does this all mean? So, ladies and gentlemen, Asia now accounts for more than 50% of the world's patent filing. China, of course, leading the pack. And the spillover benefits from technology and innovation capabilities are directly in line with economic growth opportunity, right? And Malaysia is within this 50% world patent filing. However, our numbers are very, very low, right? We've come a long way from being a commodities-based economy to diversifying into high-end manufacturing services that saw us thrive in the 70s and 80s. I think we've got our E&E and our industrial focus in Penang, which many of you know, and we've got it scattered all over Malaysia, right? So that saw us drive through the 70s and the 80s. However, we have yet to ride the innovation-driven growth wave to transition into a high-income economy. As I've mentioned earlier, we're down by about 20%. Now, we hope that the RMK 12 and achieving those targets will get us there. Now, again, going back to patent filings, right? For example, our research institutes and higher education institutes produce amazing discoveries every year, churning out research papers and inventions in their labs and R&D facilities, but they are stuck there, possibly for years and even decades. Now, going back to some stats here, right? In Southeast Asia alone, 82% of our patent filings originate from outside the region, which shows there is actually a lot of room for improvement. Now, including Malaysia, according to the World Bank, there were only about 1,017 patent applications from Malaysia in 2019. It's actually a low number compared to all the research that are actually happening in the private as well as the public universities, right? If you look at China, China has about 1.2 million patent application. Of course, it's not an apple-to-apple comparison, but I think by virtue of comparing our population in itself, we are actually by far pretty low. Yeah. Now, in order to create more IP, there's no other way to do it. We need to strengthen our security of innovation supply. What does that mean? We just need to be able to convert more R&Ds, which are sitting in the labs, bringing it up to market, right? And when I say bringing it out to market, it needs to be brought out to market to solve real key problems. So the match between solution providers and seekers needs to be clear. All right. Now, going back in terms of dollar of investments into R&D, again, as a percentage of GDP, which is what we're measuring here under RMK 12, the target here that we're looking at is about 2.5% of GERD to GDP. Right? South Korea leads the pack with 4.6%. Now, let me go back. Our target is 2.5%. South Korea is already at 4.6%, followed by Taiwan, Japan, China, and Singapore. Currently, Malaysia stands at 1.1%. And we are lower than the world's average of 1.7%. Now, you may ask, why is it that we are recording such a low number? And I strongly believe that it is not a function of not having talent within the country. I think the issue is in conversion and in the support provided for the conversion, right? And creating or targeting R&D in areas where we actually need, solving real problems, mission-oriented R&D. I think there is where the mismatch actually lies, yeah? So we definitely have a lot of catching up to do. Now, on the talent count, going back to talent, right? According to our government data from 2018, Malaysia has just over 58 researchers per 10,000 labor force. Now, Puan Hazami can correct me here, but this is not the most recent data. This is as of 2018. 58 per 10,000 labor force, which is actually fairly low. Yeah. Now, Malaysian researchers are mainly in the higher learning institutions, which make up 79 and 16% are from private sector. Right? Now, these numbers are flipped for highly innovative nations such as South Korea, with 82% of researchers are from the private sector. I'll recap. In Malaysia, 16% of our researchers are from private sector. In South Korea, 82% of their researchers are from private sector. Now, correspondingly, the R&D expenditure by the private sector today makes up about 44% of total activity in the market. Now, our target here is to increase that amount to 70% by 2025. All right? Now, fledgling startups, innovators, inventors, scientists, they actually struggle with making sense of the various funding and support mechanism available to them because it is currently fragmented. Now in Malaysia, we actually have a lot of support by the government. However, truth is it is fragmented at the moment, or the situation is that the inventors or startups do not know where to go to actually access this support. So I think what RMK 12 and what MOSTI intends to do is bring together all this support, a one-stop center, through Meranti and through all of our other agencies within MOSTI. Because it is not that we lack support, I think we lack the match again, right? Now, it is up to us right now to actually up our game. We need to increase our pipeline and actually at the start of the funnel in itself, right? So it is really about providing the right environment, supporting talent, providing the right ecosystem, right environment for our talent to flourish. So essentially, this is what we hope to do through Meranti. We want to be able to support the STIE ecosystem and of course the targets set out in RMK 12. Yeah? Again, the last point here is about the Global Innovation Index. You may have read that this year we actually slipped 3 ranks. We're now at 36. We were at 33 the year before. We're now at 36. So we have to really up our game and get it to top 20 within the next 5 years. Now, yeah. Okay. So we are, sorry about that. Okay. Now, the Global Innovation Index ranked Malaysia 3rd after China and Thailand for the most innovative country in the upper middle income group category. But if it's our goal to be our top 20, then we want an ecosystem that we can stand tall and to be best in the world, right? So again, going back to what we're working on right now, the new mandate, Meranti again is meant to be, the focus is really to be a one-stop agency with resources to accelerate commercialization, innovative ideas and concept. Our focus is return on ideas. We want to be able to convert ideas to provide impact, which will then provide the funnel for innovation. Key missions, creation, technology development, commercialization, as well as acceleration. Driving return on ideas. Ideas to impact is our focus. Yeah. Next slide. Now, how are we going to do that? Under Meranti itself, or again, in our focus to actually closing the gap of commercialization, we have existingly a couple of initiatives. We've got the National Technology and Innovation Sandbox. Now, the sandbox in itself, as the name goes, is meant to be a playground for technologies to try to test and validate their technology in a safe environment, where agencies like ourselves will provide the necessary support. So this is where you're able to try and in fact fail if you need to, which will enable you to improve your technologies further. Now that's the NTIS, and we cut across multiple industries, subsectors, as well as focus areas in technology, backed by the Malaysia Science, Technology and Innovation 10 by 10 framework, which is actually developed by the Academy Sciences of Malaysia, which is backed on 10 socio-economic sectors across 10 technology drivers. So that's really the National Technology and Innovation Sandbox. And in the last 1 year, we have actually completed 500 applications. We have about 130 startups within the sandbox right now. And if you're looking at the split, we've got about 50% which is there to serve the medical as well as the healthcare, as well as agriculture and forestry energy sectors. Those are the split. And we're also currently working on the International Innovation Hub, which is to impact 5,000 technopreneurs to develop 15 IPs in 2020. And the target across the next 5 years will be about that as well. Again, the International Innovation Hub is a target under the RMK 12. We're also looking to build an artificial intelligence park, which will be bringing together the 5G development hub, urban farming facilities, and we're looking at biotech as well as autonomous vehicles and robotics, right? Now, so, speed synergy is basically what is needed to bring technology and innovation to market. Speed is the right timing, getting funded at the right time, getting support at the right time. Synergy, this is what I talked about earlier, right? So we have to bring the entire ecosystem together, key stakeholders towards scalability. What we do as an agency will be focusing on 3 key areas: ideation and applied research, prototyping, and viability testing through the solutions and platforms that we mentioned earlier, scaling up and commercialization support, right? So this is really the 3 key areas that we look at. Okay, I'm just going to accelerate my presentation. I don't have much time. Yeah. Sorry, so let me just skip this. Yeah, so I think just to wrap up my presentation and our take on RMK 12 and the entire push for technology and innovation is really about bringing everyone together, bringing the right support together, and also creating a conducive environment for our talent to flourish. Again, I think RMK 12 has actually laid out very strong, very key targets for us to achieve. And we have the right talent pool, we have the right support, but it's actually about bringing everyone together. And I think the other important thing is also the ability to identify these talents out there. So we also have with us on our panel session today with Eric, who's also a very prominent name in the startup ecosystem at the moment. These are examples of startups and founders that can actually create excitement within the ecosystem to show our technology talent that this can be done. You can accelerate your companies, you can accelerate your technology, and you can accelerate to market with the right kind of support. And I think with that, I will pass on to Dr. Rezal to take on the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Zulaira. Excellent presentation. I've seen throughout your presentation, you belabored on the points on setting the clear targets, right? The good, the birds,
Yeah.
the gap from the previous RMK 11 to what we aspire to achieve in RMK 12. And I like the idea of the concept of Meranti because it symbolizes what Malaysian stands for. The tree, the canopy, which brings all together, the connectivity, the branches, and most importantly, we have to be grounded, the roots, right? To nourish our startups, SME, even the large corporation, to provide them the right kind of impetus, the right kind of catalyst or support for us to empower technology and commercialization agenda as per our session today.
No.
And also, I'm also intrigued by the 3 I's, return of ideas,
Yes.
impact, and innovation.
That's right.
Right. And the 3 vectors: speed, synergy, and scale.
Scalability.
Yeah, scalability. Critical. Wonderful stuff. And aligning to the name of Meranti, right? The A stands for acceleration, where you have speed. So it brings on over to the next presentation by Puan Hazami. We'll be able to see in terms of the vector, the direction, of which Puan Hazami will expound on the detail on the national framework with regard to the socio-economic drivers, to the MySDIE, which stands for the Malaysian Science, Technology, Innovation, Economics, to provide us the navigation tool for us to literally navigate wade through this RMK 12, through this 4th Industrial Revolution to ensure that Malaysia will land on a proper place. So before that, a brief introduction about who Puan Hazami Habib is. She is the Chief Executive Officer of the Academy of Sciences of Malaysia. She is currently serving as the CEO of ASM, of course, a think tank body focusing on science, technology, and innovation policy and strategy projects. She leads the Malaysian management of the academy that comprise of amount of more than 700 SDI experts in Malaysia. She joined ASM in 1996. In her years at the Academy, she has involved in several national and international level studies and programs such as the National Astronaut Program, National Science Challenge, ASEAN and Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation APEC meetings related to STI, first, second and third, science and technology, international policy and others. Among ASM flagship studies that she oversees are Mega Science Framework Study, Foresight Study on Malaysia 2050, Science Education Study, Science Outlook, and others. She also has been appointed as the member of the Board of Trustees of the Yayasan Pintar Negara, YPM, that focus on designing learning modules for gifted children. Regionally, she has represented Malaysia in a few talks and forums, including the China-ASEAN Technology Transfer and STI Cooperation Forum, Nanning, China, ASEAN Telemobility Workshop, Thailand, Asian Innovation Forum, Korea, and 2019 AAAS Symposium in Washington, D.C. She is the chair of Science, Technology, Innovation Committee in APEC Policy Partnership on Science, Technology, Innovation 2017 to 2020, and the secretary for Malaysia in IIASA Council 2014-2019. Disciplinary panel for Malaysian Medical Council 2018 to 2020, and a council member for Industry Forward, led by the Ministry of International Trade Industry 2019 to 2021. Her area of interest and expertise is on STEM, talent development, policies, strategic science communication, foresight, science diplomacy, and governance. So over to you, Puan Hazami. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Rizal.
Yeah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Thank you to MOSTI to have given us an opportunity to have this forum today. Today, my focus in this forum is to talk about how the 12th Malaysia Plan shaping the future through impactful STI collaboration. First of all, when Academy look into the ecosystem of STI, we look back until from the 5th Malaysia Plan until 11th Malaysia Plan. What we can see is what we are focusing in R&D and what industry are focusing is not congruence. Then we also see that the convergence of these two sectors, the economic sector and the STI sector, is not clear and the impact is not really big. So how are we going to push and change things under 12th Malaysia Plan? The way forward, one of the recommendations from the Academy is the STI sector must be combined or planned together with the economic sector or socio-economic sector. Then only STI can become the main enabler to transform the economy and the society. So with that, in the Malaysian past policy, the ideas of science technology is approached by chance and not by design. So we need to change our approach, no longer by chance and by design. How are we going to do that and to change that by design? The classic problems between the socio-economic development sector and the STI is there is this broken bridge, whereby the academia or researcher is doing one thing and the industry is needing another thing. How to combine both of these sectors for them to plan and really use STI to transform their product, their services, and also technologies in order to increase the productivity, to reduce waste, and to add value into our product and technologies. So with that, Academy come up with this 10-10 My STI framework, whereby from this framework we can see Academy had identified 10 technology drivers that really can transform the 10 socio-economic drivers in Malaysia that really we want to focus for the next 5 to 10 years. So we hope with this framework, it can become a tool to everybody, name it industry, government, agency, private sector, even civil society. If you want to do any initiative, use this 10-10 MyST framework as a tool for you to plan. So with this, Academy is the first user to use this plan for us to come up with 30 niche area for the Malaysian grand challenges. So these are the 30 niche area that we want to focus for the next 10 years to transform the 10 socio-economic. Some of it that I can mention here under business and financial services, we would like to focus on subscription business model and sharing platform. We would like to have a digitalized and autonomous services. We want to strengthen fintech and Islamic finance. So these are 33 niche areas that we would like to focus under business financial services. Just like what you see Qasim's success story under the new business financial services. We also want to transform smart cities and transportation, whereby we want to integrate urban infrastructure and infrastructure management. We want to have a smart system for connected rural urban communities. And we want to have a human-centered design analytics. This is just to show some of the niche area that we have decided using the 10-10 MySDA framework. So we hope with this kind of niche area, MOSTI as the ministry giving grants under the Malaysian grant challenges, our researcher can focus, our industry can focus to find solutions and impactful research for us to upgrade all these 10 socioeconomic to the next level. If you see data from EPU, there are some socioeconomic sectors like agriculture and health services are in laggard. And we have some like E&E as a pace setter. How are these sectors can help each other to bring up other sectors that are in laggards for them to go and leap to the next level. So these are things that we are trying to put up in the SDI ecosystem for us to have more mission-oriented innovation by our local experts, collaborating with industry, collaborating with government and also civil society for us to come more demand-driven and market delivery system kind of R&D that really give impact to the economy. Then we can see that it's not enough by having know what is the niche area. Next is MOSTI with other ministries have to tackle and create many innovation helix ecosystem. This is what Meranti needs. Meranti needs an innovation helix ecosystem that really cater into the needs, the new technology, cater into how to market for all our industry, business enterprise, researchers, civil society and government to plan well. In order to do this, we need to strengthen the infrastructure, intellectual capital, integrity, incentive, institutions, interactions and internationalizations. With these 8I ecosystem enablers, we need to do a gap analysis in each clusters of socioeconomic. Name it business, financial, name it halal, agriculture, etc. So when we have this gap analysis, then government, agencies, industries, and civil society can tackle it together. With that, we will have a strong innovation ecosystem. So the way forward as a Malaysian, as what Puan Zulera has shared just now with some statistic, we have 79% of researchers in Institute of Higher Learning. We have only 16% researchers at business enterprise, and the rest is government researchers. Compared to other developed countries that have more than 50% of their researchers in business enterprise, they can scale up or translate any technology, product and services into commercialization. But for Malaysia, we have to change a bit. And for Malaysia, in order for us to catch up, we need to collaborate. The value of collaboration as a small country with very limited resources, we can together build up a shared vision. Then we can together build up a shared ownership, shared risk, shared resources, shared outcomes, and we have to build up a mutual trust and shared knowledge and technology. Just through collaboration, we can leapfrogging and we can advance our country in all the targeted mission that we have in mind. So in 1010 MySDI, we also come up with the collaborative platform. This platform bringing in at least 8 players or 8 clusters to work together. Name it, we are connector, academy, Meranti, nanotechnology can become a connector. Ministry of Science at ministry level, they are the ministry as connecting other ministry to mainstream SDI. We also need to work with producer and manufacturer. We have to work with technology provider. Nanotechnology can also become a technology provider. Then financing provider is also important in this collaborative platform. We need to bring in together standard setters and regulators for them to understand the new technology and the needs of the society. We need to also strengthen the role played by supply chains and logistic providers. Then we also need to work together with market access providers and capacity builders. This is talent that is very important. With all these 8 players, we call it 8 clusters. If we can form in many, many clusters of socio-economic, we can do leaps and bounds, we can do a lot of things in innovation. But all of us have to work together. We have to address it. Like today, if we can invent an autonomous car, we need to amend our transportation law. So these are things that we need to address under this collaborative platform. So we hope under the 12th Malaysia Plan, all these collaborative platforms can be formed among ministries, agencies, business enterprises for us to scale it up, speed for us to translate all the knowledge into local technology product and services. So we didn't stop there. Under MOSTI, through Academy of Sciences Malaysia, we did this Malaysian Collaborative Network for Disruptive Innovation, or we call it iConnect. So we form 5 neutral entities to manage 4 clusters, that is Halal, Industry 4.0, Digital Healthcare, and FinTech in Islamic Finance. We hope this neutral entity can become the stewardship to form the ecosystem and work together with agencies like Meranti and start planning well on the commercializations, innovations, because this is where we can translate ideas to innovation and process it towards the process of commercialization. Without this kind of collaborative network, then working in silo will make the risk higher, will make the possibilities of us to make a disruptive technology very low, and we need to work fast in this disruptive and also uncertainty. So with that, in Academy under 1010 MySTI, we didn't stop there. We want it also to be inclusive. So we come up with all this map of all plans coming from MIDA, coming from MITI, MOSTI, and all state government and corridors for us to come up with all regionals plan. And with that, we can come up with more impactful incentive and initiative and programs. So this is available at Academy's website. You can download it. This is just one example that we have done for Sarawak region. So with that, as you can see, through the short session that we have today, Academy have come up with this blueprint under 1010 MySTI for all 12 Malaysia plan that is already included. This 1010 is included under the 12th game changer of RMK 12. For us to plan all our R&D initiative, our research, our projects, our blockbuster to be more focused, more according to the priority areas that we have identified. We have to make sure the 8I ecosystem is there before we start anything and make sure it is drive concurrently. We have to build up a collaborative platform, make it more inclusive, and the last one is very important, whereby we have to make sure it is future-proof. So we need to monitor and evaluate all the time all the products and services to ensure it's sustainable and can compete globally. From the ministries and academies perspective, we have done this since last year when we launched the NPSDI and also 1010 MySTIE. And with that, we can see some of the outputs coming from all the engagement that we have done. We have one strategic framework. We already have a policy of DISTIN 2021-2030. Now RMK 12 have also included DISTIN and 1010 as an enabler to mainstream SDI in the economic sector. We already have priority areas, 30 SDI niche area with Malaysia, adopted as Malaysian Grand Challenges. We also have done a systemized 8I ecosystem for more than 40 sectors, and also marketing and branding 5.0 to be launched in December. We have also through MOSTI 4 joint ministerial task forces. You can see more and more ministries working together right now. We have more inclusive 5 regional key economic activity to be mapped and has been mapped. We want all the higher learning institution and TVET institution to work together. We have mapped it also for them to play their role in each locality where they are situated. And also we have a state and district level mapping in the progress right now. We hope this can become a dashboard for us to share and use it for our planning. And now MOSTI is in the midst of building up 17 national policies and roadmaps for us to plan things by design and no longer by chance. And we hope with that, we can also champion it at regional level. So that is what, in the crux, why this RMK 12 is a bit different than RMK 11, 10, and the before kind of RMK. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Puan Hazami. Very exhaustive and very comprehensive presentation. In short, it provides us, imagine yourself holding a compass, you have a map. And we have the speed provider, Emranti, Puan Zilara, and Puan Hazami will give you the map and the compass. You just navigate. So with speed and direction, you have a vectorial trajectory to ensure that we go to the right place at the right speed at the right time. But the key component here, which have been repeated by both presenters, is collaboration. And the minister have said so many times in various meetings that we need to work together, collaborate, connect, converge. You can run far if you run alone, or you can run fast if you want to run alone. But in order for you to run far, the farthest you can, you must run together as such. So we bring together to all of us jump into the final presentation. CARSM. So CARSM is the buzzword now, right? It's the pride of Malaysia, our latest unicorn. So we're very proud of you, Mr. Eric, your achievements in graduating and emancipating CARSM, bringing it up to the next level, becoming a true unicorn in all its glory. So before you start, a bit of a background about you, very brief, before you broadcast your success story and tell us the pain points and how you get there. We are very curious. So Eric Cheng, the co-founder and group CEO of CARSM, co-founded CARSM, of course, being the founder, Southeast Asia's largest integrated car e-commerce platform in 2015, 6 years ago. With his combined knowledge in accountancy, business and development, digital marketing strategy, he leads the overall strategic direction of the business across multiple verticals and expansion strategies. CARSM has since expanded from Malaysia into Indonesia, Thailand, and Singapore, with more than 2,000 people employed across all its offices. So this is one example of which a success story will translate into job creation. So without stealing your thunder, over to you, Eric.
Hey, thank you so much, and selamat pagi everyone. Very happy to be here again. So I think, like you say, right, I think things move so quickly. We always see that the company is creating jobs, and from 2000, couple of months back, now we already crossed 2,500, which I think probably in another 2 to 3 more months we will pass the 3,000 headcount level. So things is growing very well over here, and I think listening to the earlier presentations, one thing that I realized is how the government is being very supportive towards the digital economy. I think if you look at it that way, the future of Malaysia economy is going to be very much digital. It's going to be a big part of the contribution to GDP growth, big part of talents that are very much contributing to this aspect of knowledge. I think one part of it is where we are today. We are trying to accelerate the tech adoption in the scene and the innovations, especially in the respective cities that we are in right now. Right? We have a hub, Malaysia, as like KL, and also Penang, a very vibrant tech hub as I experience it. But we are seeing more and more of tech talents actually working in very much different places, even Ipoh, JB, remote locations, right? But they are all working in a company of CARSM and some other tech startups that I saw. Definitely, you see that adoption is picking up, and having government and Malaysia 12 plan to support that is truly something that I think everyone would appreciate, right? Like being the few game changer that I can remember around. One of it is digitalizations among SME and new driver of growth. I think if you look at that, what we are doing in custom, we basically represent, that in the first few years when we first started the business, we've been aspired to help a lot of SMEs, namely the used car dealers, to help them run the business, digitalize, because a lot of their management systems are done on a paper base, and sometimes even like very raw Excel. How we are transiting that into digital tools for them to run their business and being able to generate more income and professionalize, most importantly, the aspect of how they are doing things on a day-to-day basis. And I think especially true if you look at the last 12 to 18 months with lockdowns, with us not being able to operate physically. Even, for example, test drive is not allowed on a physical, right? So a lot of things has changed and moved into on the online environment. That digital connectivity that we see today is very different. Like I'm running this seminar right now because of the time constraints, but virtually with everyone that's viewing also is not exactly physically there, but they are everywhere, right? They are able to dial in from Facebook and so on. They're able to experience the kind of sharings that we're doing today. So I view that as how we are doing things on a day-to-day basis now is becoming more and more digital. And looking at the framework, looking at the plans that we have in store to support this ecosystem, I think what I can do today is share a little bit about what Custom is to everyone, and use that as I guess a guide, right, a beacon, right, where what Custom is today is where a lot of other companies can go to in the next couple of years. And with that initiatives that we have put in place, it should help accelerate, it should help keep people excited that this is a path that we all could pursue. And I hope that with Custom, we also produce more and more tech talent that create a bigger ecosystem, just like how we talk about connectivities among different initiatives, different plans, and coming together into one single purpose. So let me move on to the next slide, right, to kind of give you a sense of what the company is, what Custom is today, and who we are. So if you think about us, we call ourselves the largest integrated car e-commerce platform. I put it very simply, it's basically like Amazon for cars. It's like Shopee for cars. We digitalize how buying and selling a car in the scene, where if you are looking to sell your car, which is where we started off, we provide that hassle-free process in taking care of the checking of the car condition, the inspection. No physical paperwork that's needed in between here and there. So we digitalize the signing and everything else in between. And I think most importantly is instead of you walking to different showrooms to see whether you can trade in, we are able to provide you a pricing standard that is transparent to a nationwide level, so that your car can be sold across not just from the next 5 to 10 km radius. Like if you're in KL, you only sell to KL. Okay, allowing you to sell to buyers even from Sorrow, even from KK, right? Different locations. As long as the demand is there, we match between supply and demand. And I think most importantly also, not just the convenience, not just the hassle, we also allow the payment really quickly coming back to you. So, and to think about this whole process, selling a car streamlined into within an hour, that's exactly what we do compared to what you are able to get from doing it yourself, walking in and trying to get a car negotiated to a price that you like. And I think the same when it comes to buying a used car with us. We assure of that quality standard because all cars are being reconditioned through our own center, and we provide a 1-year warranty and the 5 days money back, just like how you're buying clothes maybe from any e-commerce platform, right? If you don't like it, you can return the car to us within 5 days. And we take away that needs when it comes to negotiating, haggling. All price that you see with us is just one fixed price, no hidden fee, no whatsoever. So we allow you that transparency when it comes to using tech, giving the virtual showroom, giving the virtual tour of the car, and the full comprehensive of the car condition report. So these are the things that we have done, coupled with the really large selections that we have created, which if you come onto our platform today, you can browse for more than 1,000 cars to choose from, which easily more than any other selections that you can get from locally, maybe 10, 20, 30. Now we are basically upsizing that to more than 10 to 15 times of the size of an inventory pool. Next slide. So I think as much as if you look at us as a tech company, a tech startup that has obtained like a really good status, being a Malaysia first unicorn. I think we always think Custom is more of a customer-centric company. Like we think of like what is the pain point in the market. We look at what people actually want. They want a better service. They want a better product. And I think that's where we started, right? Like we think that using innovations, using technology could help us address this pain point in a much more efficient manner. It helps in providing a good solutions to the consumers because with tech, a lot of frictions between the process in between has been removed. It allowed a complicated process that take a few days or even weeks to complete. Now we are streamlining it to an hour to help you complete that process of selling a car. And likewise, from buying a car as well, you come onto our platform, just a few clicks away, you are able to buy your car and we get it delivered to your doorstep. And to make the decisions, we know that we need to bring a lot of information upfront, like the car conditions, the transparency when it comes to buying a car with a fixed price, and knowing that you are able to return the car back to us if there's some issues, or maybe even you don't like the car just because the boot can't really fit your golf club or something like that. So I think these are the kind of things that we saw within the market, right? Why people buying for things to be more physical, especially car is to many people is the second biggest purchase in their life, right? Second biggest asset class after property. So I think to us is we want to be able to bring those informations upfront, and knowing that people would be able to make a well-informed decisions after buying or selling a car with us, and continue to spread with a word of mouth to many people out there. I think the importance of us as a business is we use technology to enable us to address a very obvious pain point in the market. And that's what essentially technology represents. We are not just doing tech, we're not just being digital for the sake of digital. We are trying to use this as a purpose to help us solve the inefficiencies, the lack of transparencies in the market. And I think this is fundamentally what makes us to where we are today, why we are able to successfully scale the business from city to city, from country to country as well. Next one. So very quickly, I would also want to give you a sense of how we have gotten to where we are today. Like in 2015, we started the business in Malaysia, in PJ, Petaling Jaya. And that's the first office until now is still there, with just 5 of us, right, within the team. And we started the operations to basically think about how to address one single pain point that we saw in the market, helping people to sell their cars. And of course, the first 2 to 3 years, like until 2017, a lot of things that we did was to really find a product market fit, like using technology to see how we can find the right product in order to offer to our consumers before building a really successful business. I think that's where the difference between normal businesses in starting out to startups, right? That we are trying to address a pain point that is not that with a solution that is not exist in the market. So having that risk in making mistake is something that you have to make in the beginning, and having that understanding to innovate and learn from the mistakes and shape into a better product. I think that's what we have done over the last the first few years in the business. And once we found the product market fit, we very quickly scaled to multiple countries within ASEAN. We recognize that this is not just a pain point that Malaysians felt, right? Indonesians, Thai, Singaporean, they all feel the same issues, right, when it comes to that pain point in buying and selling cars. So that's where we scale in the next couple of years, as you can see from here, that we're very focused in building a business. We raise fundings from investors who believe in the same vision, the same missions for us, trying to bring transparency and trust in the used car market. And we successfully replicated this business, right, as we continue to grow to the next couple of years of 2018, 2019. You saw us right now live in actually about 70 over cities already between the countries that we are operating. We are definitely the largest right now on the monthly basis. Right now we are selling about 10,000 cars. If you look at where we are in 2018 and 19, those numbers were very small. all the time that we have been doing is we continue to replicate and expand because we know that there's a physical needs when it comes to the infrastructure support like logistic hub, the retail centers that front the customers. These are the things that we have done in a way to replicate the scaling playbook in multiple cities. But as we continue to become better in replicating the technology, building the tech stack, which you will see in the next couple of slides, those help us to really streamline and continue to scale much faster. We have a internal slide that look at the cohort of how we scale and expand to a new market. Every new city that we expand to, our numbers pick up a lot faster compared to the older cities that we have launched. I think this is not just based on understanding from us how we know that our product and our services works, but also from our understanding on utilizing the data, the technology that we have built, and further improvise our playbook so that we can continue to get to where we are today, which in the last year, we have successfully done a few things, from selling the first 100,000 cars on the platform to now becoming the Malaysia first unicorn. We also set up our own Custom Academy that's in cooperations to the HRD, and also a big part of the TVET is to set up that Custom Academy to upskill digital talents and technicians talents that is deeply in need, right, in the automotive industries. And I think probably we're also one of the first that set up data center of excellence in Malaysia. And we hold one of the largest data sets when it comes to innovating in the car space, especially on the car condition side, to aggregate all of this understanding of inspection data, car condition data, to firm up what is the right way to price a car, what is the right way for us to look at a car, even they are the same age, same color, same model and make. Next slide, please. So I think going to the business a little bit more is that how we created this business starting from two different steps, right? So one of the first things that we felt in need is when we start the company in 2015, there were no data in the market. So no data when it comes to pricing and no data when it comes to car condition. So a lot of these are scattered everywhere here and there, but none of it is unified. So for us is we have been on a journey to build up this database, this data sets internally through our activities on inspecting a car to selling it, matching the supply and demand. So data has been the core of the custom business because it allowed us a few things to get to where we are today. Number one is it has helped us to support some of the strategic decisions making within the business, like where is the next city we should go to, where is the demand, and if we are going to the next 1,000 cars that you're going to see on custom today, what are the kind of cars that you should be seeing that it helps cater for all types of needs. And that flows into the inventory acquisitions, the way we liquidate the cars, like what is the right market pricing for us to sell this car very quickly. And that goes with also what kind of inventory mix to construct, right? And for us is we have further innovate based on the large data sets that we have gathered to improvise the kind of internal processes that you see from the aspect of AI and machine learning pricing model, from the aspect of our car plate masking capability. A lot of these things help us remove the inefficiencies in the process and allow us to really drive towards automations in many ways that we require less and less people when we expand, but we focus on using technology to drive and make their life a lot easier so that they're not, having too much things to do as the numbers do, but they're actually doing exactly the same method end to end. But, as the company grow, they're able to use technology to help them address some of these pain points internally as well. Next slide. So apart from the data, we also have the technology stacks that I have mentioned earlier, right? That we layer onto the entire end-to-end process of buying and selling a car. And we cater for different persona within the business. One is consumers, right? People who are buying and selling cars. You are only seeing a few applications on this slide when you are using our platform as a customers. But the transaction process is always very complicated, when it comes to car transactions. So what we have done is we have also created a whole product suite that cater for not just the customers, but also for our internal employees, our internal talent, so that they can run their job a lot easier in multiple ways, right? And also the dealers as well, who are procuring inventory from our platform, and they don't have to buy a car without seeing it physically first, right? All cars are being purchased and being delivered to their doorstep. That would be the first time they see a car, be it a used car dealer or be it a consumer. And the in-between process of how technology is put in place is from understanding what the customer want, what our own people need, because all of these things shape into the kind of features that we see on the different applications over here. And I think our job is to really see how this technology stack can further replicate and improvise into serving more verticals, right, as you see. So it doesn't necessarily just has to be car. It can be also to the two-wheelers. It can be also be commercial vehicles. And maybe one day it can even for anything beyond cars. But I think to us, it's not going to be hard for us to really replicate into different things, especially when your mission of the company is always to put the customer pain point first. What do the customer want? Who do we want to build it for? And I think from there, you have that use case and you put into the journey, and you would have this technology stack and the data for you to continue to scale the business. And I think these are the things that you hardly see when it comes to more traditional setup of businesses. They lack the understanding of what is good, right? And to us, is we drive the business with data and technology. We ask ourselves the questions like, why do we want to do this today? Do you have any facts and data to back it up? And I think from there, you make more well-informed decisions. It helps you to also get to the destination, the visions that you have created in the first place a lot faster, a lot nearer. Next slide. And this is where we are today in terms of looking forward, right? As a custom business, like we are a car e-commerce platform that cater for buying and selling cars, but in the last couple of years, as we build a business, we also further see a lot of inefficiencies, especially when it comes to the ancillary supports. Like most people buy a car with a financing, right? They would get a loan in order for them to buy a car, but we realize that a lot of this portion is being underserved, especially in the region, not just Malaysia itself, but Southeast Asia in general. Financing has always been not very accessible to many people. And I think for us is when we look at these ancillary supports, like warranty, insurance, after sales, there's many areas, if you think about it, technology can play a really critical role in bringing innovations to tackle some of these problems that we are seeing right now. And I think that's where we are getting to today for Carson, that from helping you to buy and sell a car, we are extending that trust, that peace of mind when it comes to doing all of these things within the whole journey of car ownership. And we believe that by understanding the car better, understanding the characteristic of how you can sell a car to buying a car, it helps us to support on the aspects of financing, warranty, insurance, and after sales, all the ancillary needs when it comes to owning a car. And we're not doing this just by ourselves. We're doing this with a lot of our ecosystem partners, which you can see in the next slide. We're creating an ecosystem today with Carson being at the center of it, matching the supply and demand of the cars that you're seeing in the market. And we innovated with having the pricing understanding of the car in the market to the car conditions that we have set up through our inspection standard. And we're inviting a lot of ecosystem partners to help further innovate and create an ecosystem that is digital, but it serves the customers and gives them the kind of transparency and trust that's needed very much in the market. So from the aspect of like insurance, warranty and all, we're working with multiple partners like Allianz, like Maybank, like Public Bank, to offer the understanding in each car, what is the condition like. It help them to price or price a car on the insurance valuation much better. Same goes to financing as well. By understanding the profile of how people are buying and selling cars, how often they change, they allow us to also finance them in a way that that's much more accurate when it comes to valuing a car on their book. So I think these are the things that it helps having ecosystem partners that are operating in the industry today. We provide that kind of innovations on the data to the technology, to help them to capture a lot more demand in a more efficient manner. And to us, is we are also able to continue to serve our customers wherever they are. It doesn't have to be in the place that we operate. It can be in a place that we offer our service to on the digital environment. And this ecosystem we are seeing today is fully built on a digital manner. And it helps, connect everyone a lot closer. And for the first time, you are seeing actually cars are being traded on a national level. Someone from Kedah, from Alostar can be selling a car all the way to JB. I think these are the things that can be done within a couple of minutes, right? And that's exactly what we want to do with the platform, and this is exactly what the future of the Malaysian economy can be, right? When it comes to driving digital initiatives. Next slide. And I think moving forward is, we know that in Malaysia especially, there's a lot of things that while we are doing this digitally, we also need to continue to expand the physical footprints, right? I think people would always appreciate that hybrid approach of having a physical infrastructures, a physical centers that they can feel. And these are the things that we will never forget, right? We will always want to blend in between the offline environment and the online environment, and shape that into something that we can experience, right? That if you want to do things on the online environment today, you can do it with us. And even do it offline, likewise, you can also do it in one of our centers. So, which I feel in the next 5 to 10 years and 15, 20 years to come, what you will see is there's going to be a lot more companies like Carson that are using technology to embrace innovations and tackle pain points that you see in the market, but not forgetting what it means, right, to the people out there. We are not just here to really create jobs, but we are here to really serve the customers in the kind of things that they need. And you'll be able to see it as most people in the region or in Malaysia, they will want to have, they would think that offline and online environment is starting to become a lot blur, right? Where most things are being merged into one, most experiences are being hybrid and combined into one. And I think that's where the kind of initiatives that we are seeing today would help us to get to this state of, having technology companies to become bigger and continue extending that physical exposure to footprint offline. And from there, you will see a lot more companies that starting from a startup, it can becoming to a more established company, and eventually becoming a company that can create a larger ecosystem to serve more and more industry partners. Yeah, so I think that's the end of my introduction of the company of Carson, which I hope that would help serve as one of the examples of what technology could bring in the Malaysian economy. And I think personally quite excited with some of the things, especially the game changer factors that could help drive support, right, for tech companies. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. I think it's a very, very interesting journey you have gone through, and I'm keen to understand more, but we take it offline. You mentioned about online and offline, but there's a lot more for you to expand on your way forward journey, because you mentioned about the lines are being blurred between offline and online world. And we all have witnessed the fact that Facebook has rebranded themselves into Meta. So the advent of the metaverse is very clear, is very here. That could also be the evolution of Carson. So having said that, because we don't have much time, we have about 5 minutes left. There's one question that we like to throw to all presenters here, which is called, how can government do the change management to make every decision process more agile? So I'll start with Puan Hazami, because she provides the barometer, the compass, the network of the MySTIE. So over to you to respond to that.
Thank you. For us to be more agile, I think we need to make decisions based on evidence. We need to understand, just like how Kasem planned the way forward, the government also have to have that.
Okay.
So with that, I hope with this RMK 12, with all the framework, with all the policies and roadmaps, we can do more impactful decisions towards all initiatives and programs.
And what is implied there will be data-driven decision, right?
Yes.
Yes. So the advent, the application of AI will create a much more agile government to go towards where you want to go. Your framework has laid down the path towards social economy drivers, the technology behind it, but you must be done through data, right? And
Yes.
AI. How about you?
I think you've said it, and Puan Hazami also encapsulated it very well. Data-driven is the word, data-driven decision-making, but also how we arrive to actually synthesizing those data is also very important. The processes that are put in place to evaluate the data points, because as government, I think our role is to facilitate, but we also cannot be bogged down by unnecessary processes and bureaucracies. Again, the entire process needs to be data-driven. And yeah, I think that will allow agility.
Yes, agreed. Puan Zulairam implied or alluded to the fact that there must be human intervention.
That's
so
right,
yeah.
you have AI, you have data and whatnot, but you need to have human inclusion throughout the process to ensure that whatever we do has a clear-cut impact to where we want to go. How about you, Eric? From the private sector perspective, what do you want to see from the government perspective, from the private sector perspective, for high agility for the government to make faster decision, to accommodate, to facilitate, to assist companies like you, Karsam, representing the tech sector?
Yeah, I think there's rightly the same answer that I would be providing, right? Like looking at the data to see how fast we are turning around.
Yeah.
In the speed of making decisions. And in the startup world, as you know, in the companies, is speed to doing things, the market, commercialization is always very key. So having that speed, I think, is very easy. Like you look at the data, you will understand whether we are doing fast enough for catering support, right, to startups. So that would be the only thing that I think would make sense. The faster it says, the better it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we can see most of these so-called Amazon and whatnot, they evolve from a pure online platform to a physical platform. That's the evolution of most companies. So I'm sure at some point Carson will venture into a much more physical things in terms of evolving your business. And that's where one has me framework. My SDI will provide you the navigational tool, which area to go to, how to expand your business. And Puan Zulairam Emiranti will give you the conversion tool to translate your idea into something which is real, impactful for social, economic, and environmental benefits. So with that, we have to close this webinar, 12 Malaysia Plan, Empowering Technology Development and Commercialization. And these are the components that provide you the game-changing element that makes the 12 Malaysia Plan different, new, refreshing, with a new tool. The minister said that we need to run together to run far. With all these components, I think we can also run far and fast at the same time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rizal and our distinguished panelists for their insights and fruitful discussion. I hope you have gained some valuable input and understanding from this webinar, including the role of government, industry, academia, and public in bridging technology adoption in this nation as we are heading towards a high-tech nation. As the saying goes, to every beginning there is an ending. And now our webinar session has come to its end. Once again, thank you everyone for gracing our event with your presence and feedback. We truly appreciate it. On behalf of the Secretariat, I would like to apologize if there are any unintended shortcomings throughout the event. I, Kashminder Singh, the MC for today, would like to sign off and wish you a pleasant afternoon. Thank you.